Everybody, thanks so much for listening to the Cooligans in this first segment. Oh, man, we talk about a lot. We talk about a new defensive strategy that a USMNT legend suggests might actually work. I can't wait for you to hear it. We also drink cow piss.
That's right. We talk about our time in Germany, which is that it has not that the cow piss has nothing to do with Germany, but even though you sort of would expect it. But in the second segment, we are talking to Luke Moore of the Football Ramble Daily, all the way here from London, and here they're going to be doing live shows, and we talked to him about what touring America and why the Premier League is so conceited.
That's right. We also talk about MLS Cup, which is coming up soon, and we're going that and more on this episode of the Cooligans.
Hi, I'm John Strong. I'm the large bald man who stands next to Stu Holden when you watch soccer on Fox Sports. You are listening to the Cooligans.
Yeah, baby!
That is right. Look at that. That's bringing that German energy.
That's right. Das Cooligans.
Das Cooligans.
Is that how you say it?
That's it. Yeah, well, yeah, so we've been rebranded.
Yeah, diese Pizza is Scheiße.
Wow, all right. I think you didn't get that right, but
who cares? They know what I mean.
That's right. We went to Germany to spread the pizza knowledge.
That's right. Tell them all their pizza is trash, baby.
And that's really why, I think that's the only reason why Alexis even has a passport.
No.
Right?
The guy was like, how come they didn't stamp your passport? I'm like, you don't see the pizza grease on that block, my guy? I was there.
We had a great time there. So hello, welcome to today's show. My name is Christian Polanco.
That's right. And I am Alexis Guerreros.
Okay, that sounds like, it doesn't sound great. I'll just leave it at that. Yes, we are the Cooligans. We are your favorite stand-up comedians that host the funniest soccer television show that you've ever seen.
It's not just that, though.
It's not just that.
Nah, it's the most gulliest.
The most gulliest.
That's right. The most wild gully comedy show / podcast / two guys traveling internationally being told to shush.
All right. That's what you expect from Alexis.
It does still fit, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, man.
Voted in high school most likely to have a problem that's been undiagnosed.
It's the superlative right there in his yearbook. Yeah. Which is impressive.
I was like, what do y'all mean by that?
How do they know?
It's too many syllables.
It's really a shame on the school system for not really identifying it sooner.
Oh, no, I got expelled from the public school system. Got sent to Catholic school, graduating class of 88 people. That's how you don't get diagnosed with nothing. What are you talking about? I'm straight. I'm good. I'm fine. I can read everything. Except words.
All right. So, yes, we did. We just got back from Düsseldorf. That was the last.
We were in Frankfurt and Düsseldorf.
Correct. We got an invitation by the Bundesliga.
That's right. The league.
The league itself. So clearly there must have been a long list
of people that said no.
People who said no. They got to us. They're like, all right, I think there's nobody else.
Yeah.
There's a certain quote. We have to bring a certain number of people.
Right.
We're going to have to bring these guys.
They're like, should we do a contest? Let somebody win? Maybe a Make-A-Wish kid? The Make-A-Wish kid said no. So they got to us.
No, and it was a really, really cool experience, man.
It was wild.
Going to 2 games.
When we got the offer, I was like, this ain't real, right? We're getting pranked.
I honestly thought we were getting like catfished.
Yeah, 100%.
Without a doubt.
We get there's just we're going to Louisiana. It's an old fat dude.
Is it a German prince wants us to go to Germany?
He just needs to borrow $50,000.
This is very odd, you know? But no, it was very real. And while we were there, we were hanging out with like a bunch of journalists. That's the majority of the people that
who take their job seriously from across the world.
And then we were hanging out with other podcasters like Total Soccer Show.
That's right. The Bleacher Report podcast.
That's right.
Sam, awesome dude.
That's right. That's the podcast. Sam, awesome dude.
Sam, awesome dude. It's his name by birth. What are you gonna do? Family did not care about the rules. I like that guy.
But it was a really, really cool. What else did we do? We hung out with Steve Cherundolo,
American legend,
and right back for the U.S. men's national team. Played for Hanover his entire career.
That's right. He also is now getting his licenses. He's going to become a coach. Like, we hung out with someone who might be like influential potentially somewhere in the future, whether it be in Germany or MLS or men's national team. You never know.
That's right. So therefore, we have an influence on German soccer, on the U.S. men's national team by association.
So you're welcome.
Because we have to, now we're talking up Steve Cherundolo to hopefully help him get a job. And this is what this show is for.
Yeah. But also, if we talk about a coach, they're not going to get a job, right? Like, they impressed the Cooligans. What does that mean? They ate 10 slices? I mean, that doesn't mean anything coaching wise.
We were like incredibly thankful to Bundesliga for the invitation because it was a once in a lifetime experience. We got to attend 2 matches: Bayern Munich against Eintracht Frankfurt at Frankfurt Stadium,
where we caught a body. Okay.
All right. Well, let's be clear about what you're mentioning because it might incriminate.
We killed somebody. No, dude, we were at the match where Kovac essentially got fired for.
Yeah, the head coach, the manager for Bayern Munich, he gone because of us.
As soon as we left the stadium, gone. They're like, you could take them with your Cooligans, and we don't want them either.
They lost 5-1 against Eintracht. It was an absolutely historic win. Yeah. I mean, we were in the mix zone talking to some of the players. Everyone was like, we can't, even the players were like, we cannot believe we won by
players
this.
Players were like, yo, did you see it? Oh my God.
Yo, you saw what I did out there? I couldn't believe it.
I didn't even know I was that good. Yeah.
No, so, that game, and then we went to
Düsseldorf for the big rivalry against Cologne, which had not been played in 30 plus years on the top flight.
That is correct. Yes.
I remember Homeland Security or whatever that guy, the customs guy, was so mad at you that you were going to the game, and he tried to get tickets for this for months.
Yeah, it was really funny because as soon as I got to customs in Germany, he was like, "Why are you visiting Germany?"
And you told the truth. I never do. I say I'm here to shop. I'm supporting your economy. I'm not going to go do shows and get paid without a visa.
I don't want to lie to official like a government agent of Germany.
Dude, every time I can, I do.
But yes, he did ask. He was like, "Why are you visiting Germany?" I was like, "Oh, I'm going to some football matches, and I'm going to go to Cologne against Düsseldorf." And the first thing he was like, I've been trying to get tickets for that game for weeks. And he was just mad at
American scum.
So I felt bad. I thought I was going to be a little bit detained, a little interviewed for a little bit longer. But no, he was cool with it. But the trip was incredible. I mean, we have a lot of stuff to talk about in detail.
Yeah. And shouts to Pork Knuckles. Just a wonderful. You may know it as a ham hock.
That sounds. Hold on, but it sounds like a gangster you met.
Shouts to my dude, Pork Knuckle. Beautiful bootleg Tiffany watch you gave me.
No, but yes, you did enjoy the food because our first day there, we went to like a traditional German restaurant, which is basically, honestly, a bunker. Right? That's what this is.
It was a fallout shelter. It's the only thing that survived the bombings. It legitimately is. I'm not even making that up. It was like 3 flights of stairs down. The walls are wild thick. A lot of canned goods from the 40s.
Cell phone service didn't work. Even Wi-Fi service was terrible, right?
No. They're like, don't tell anyone you're here. But they only serve traditional food. So there was like, it's either schnitzel or pork.
Yeah.
That was it.
And you ordered something that was a dish for 3.
Yeah. So it wasn't just for me. Me and Sam of the Bleacher Report podcast were like, yo, we should split something. So they have basically what amounts to a trough of pig products. It said many different sausages. They didn't explain what kind.
You don't need to know details.
Don't worry about it.
Stop asking questions.
It's meat and tube form. Enjoy. One's darker and the other one's lighter. We don't know what's in there, baby. At one point, there was a ball of coagulated blood. It was like a meatball made of just blood. And we started to eat that, and we're like, maybe we shouldn't eat this thing. But it also had one big-ass pork knuckle in the middle. And then I said, it's a shame we're going to this traditional restaurant, and me and you were going to eat this. And the waiter was like, this is for 3 people. It's €60. And we're like, it's not our money. Order it. And he's like, but this is for 3 people. Like, I said, order it, And then I was like, is there any schnitzel in that? Because the place sells a lot of schnitzel. And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, it's a shame we're not going to get schnitzel. So let's get a schnitzel to start, And we split that. It seemed to have been a mistake.
So appetizer schnitzel. Yeah. You know how Alexis does it?
But I split it with somebody.
We did have a blast in Germany. And I do want to talk a little bit more about Steve Cherundolo, right?
Of course.
Because not only we played soccer with him. I did.
You played soccer.
I played soccer with him.
I did my part.
Yeah.
I think we'll see. I did my part. We make a good team.
We hung out. We had drinks. It was like a weekend to hang out with the USMNT. It was
like Steve Cherundolo flew us out. You know what I mean?
It was like one of these. I really did not expect that kind of like deep connection with Steve Cherundolo.
It was like we're side pieces to a newly minted rapper. flew us out for
something to be proud of. Anybody would definitely hop at the opportunity.
Are you kidding me? We were like Instagram thoughts and like an oil magnate reached out and was like, how much for a GFE?
But that's how it is with American soccer. Like if you
you just gloss over it.
Look, we're both on back pages out there trying to get
like, bro, make it rent money, ladies.
Trying to snag a USMNT player that makes a reasonable amount of money.
You know? I want to get some of my debt paid off.
Okay. Oh, you'll take care of 18% of my debt? Yo.
You'll Venmo me back for this dinner? Okay.
I will do anything for you, baby.
Ooh, daddy. Ooh, daddy.
But no, we had a great time with him. But one of the fun things we did get to play. I played in the media football. So Bundesliga, all the journalists got to play in the game, and I thought it was just going to be like some fun little pickup,
just
type
a little
of thing.
Kickabout. Nah, yo, some people took it wild serious.
It was very serious.
England looked like they were trying to prove a point.
They did not like getting shown up by a Dominican. Yeah, I tell you that much.
They were calling their friends like, "Why didn't we send a boat to the Dominican Republic back in the day?
We should have conquered that one too."
You know, there was only 3 we didn't.
We took Jamaica. Why?
Why?
They're so close. We could have got the ball. Anyway, we played in this tournament, and it was very much a tournament. It had points. Every game mattered.
Oh no, there were Germans running it. There was a spreadsheet. They had a spreadsheet that they updated.
Okay, on a Microsoft Surface.
Yeah, that's 100% true. They had the big headphones. They were calling in upstairs.
I think VAR was implemented at some point. It was quite intense.
Remember the girl was like, "Would you mind blowing the whistle because I can't hold the clock, the laptop, and the whistle at the same time?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." I was like, "When do I whistle?" She's like, "When the clock says 6 minutes." Right? Yeah. I blew the whistle at 6:03. Cold, deep stare from this woman for missing it in 3 seconds. Right. She's like, "You are not German."
That's not the efficiency they expect.
No.
3 seconds over? No, Alexis. But no, so we did play in the game, and this was probably the highlight of the game because while I was playing, you were out here roasting everybody.
I was on the sidelines just giving everybody a little stick.
All right, giving them the Alexis business.
You know, just showing you what I'm good at. You know, oh, you played in the men's national team? Well, this is my men's national team right here. Look at me in the World Cup, talking ish.
So this is, I want to throw to this clip. This is basically Alexis roasting Steve Cherundolo while I'm playing, and I basically put in a strong challenge.
But also, we promised when we started the show, everybody gets it. We don't care if you played in the World Cup.
Okay, we don't care if we're one of your thoughts. All right.
We don't care if later we're going to pay for this somehow. Everybody gets it.
So here is us playing soccer with Steve Cherundolo.
Oh, more like Cherundolo.
There it is.
Right? The only shame was you didn't score on him.
I know. That was the only shame. But you got that sick childhood burn on him.
Yeah. By the way, we asked him afterwards because the English guys were like, he must have heard that a million times. And he goes, actually, I've never heard it before. So what up, baby?
Crazy. To me, like as a comic, as someone who, we've heard all the jokes.
We've heard them all.
And puns. Puns are a big part of. We've heard a lot of them.
Those are the simple ones.
You would think Cherundolo would have been a hit in like middle school at the very least.
All this tells me is they said it behind his back.
That's right.
That's all it tells me.
Steve Cherundolo has never had a friend.
No, you ain't got no homies. That's why he loved us so much.
It's like, okay, he's like getting roasted by your buddies. This is kind of nice.
Remember when we were getting drinks and I was like, yo, I got an idea for defensive strategy. What if you as a defender was fully erect for all 90 minutes of the match? What did Steve Cherundolo say?
I don't remember what he said.
He said, actually, I think it'll work. So,
I mean, at the very least, it'll be a little bit distracting. But then we actually did break this down and actually talk about how could a defender play with a fully erect penis and and defend at the international level.
It's because it's the highest level. It's the fastest game, right? This isn't a kickabout at the park. Oh, that you're never going to be allowed back into.
Yeah, because how exactly are you going to direct the blood and maintain it there while also all your other appendages probably require a little bit more attention.
I don't think anyone with an erection has ever fully sprinted before. And what's your lateral movement like when your blood is all in one?
I mean, the New York City Marathon just happened the other day. How closely were we looking at them trousers?
Here's what I'm saying. Here's all I'm saying is there's a potential that I came up with either a genius piece of defensive strategy or something that's going to get someone killed.
Yes, I mean we told them, we were like, why don't you tell Greg Berhalter to implement this?
Call your boy. We'll call it the Cooligans strategy.
Yes, I can 100% corroborate this. He did suggest this, and I think this is why Steve Cherundolo loved us so much.
No one else is bringing that up.
No.
You think the journalist from Chile is going to bring that up? No, he's not. You know?
But it would be quite bold if he did. Kind of a real deviation from the normal stories.
The translator's like, you really want me to say that? This is serious. All right, here we go.
No, yes. So that.
¿Cómo se dice fully erect?
So not only while we also were in Frankfurt, we got to when we were at the game, we got to meet the Eintracht Frankfurt,
the Eagle,
the mascot, Attila. And I got to get a photo with Attila, which was really cool. This is me with Attila and a very evil handler. That put Attila very close to my face.
And the third boss who dies in a Kung Fu movie. Well, here's what you notice about Attila is that it's looking at Christian. It did not do that with anyone else.
No.
And every other one was very professional, looked straightforward. This bird just shot a look at Christian. And I think it would have attacked Christian if it wasn't for the handler.
I really did. I couldn't tell. I was so nervous, but I was like, you know what? It's like for the gram. You got to do it for the gram, right?
Also, I want you to know, if the eagle even tried, it would have caught these hands.
Oh, that's right.
I would have bodied that eagle. You just standing over the joint, taking all hands to that.
Stomping that eagle, son.
You gonna eat the bottom of these Nikes, my guy. I suggest you have a quarter so you can call your mama and tell her you met a thug, my G.
Well, gladly that did not happen. So we cool. We good. We good.
Like, I'm going to use the one phone call to call you to ask you how them hands felt when I go to jail, my dude.
But I couldn't tell. I was so nervous, but I'm pretty sure I heard Attila breathing in my ear. And I wasn't sure if I was like hallucinating or just like in such a panic. I don't even know if eagles can breathe. I'll be honest.
I never Googled that before.
I ain't sure. I ain't no zoologist or anything.
We ain't studying it. We ain't watching National Geographic for that.
But I swear.
We out here for them banging saggy boobs, dude. Is any of this making it on here?
All right, we'll be back. Oh, my God. Jesus Christmas.
Please make a clip of us threatening an eagle. All right. You played in that game with Steve Cherundolo, but you did incredibly well. I want to start by saying you've been playing soccer for 3 years. You've gotten progressively better.
4 years.
4 years. All right.
I just want to be...
Here I am trying to give you plaudits.
I just want to be honest because it has been 4 years. So that's where I really started playing.
You're a relatively athletic guy. So
yeah, and you saw that tackle that I put in on Steve Cherundolo.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
he retired again.
He was like...
He's even retired from pickup.
I'm double retired, right?
But in that game, your team won the competition.
That's right. We had a...
By the way, Steve Cherundolo's team came in last.
It's just look, when you bring a player like me with my talent and quality, that's kind of gonna happen.
An American national versus a Dominican guy who's kind of played it for 4 years. What do you think is gonna happen? Okay,
I mean, it's pretty obvious.
He also threw a couple curves and a fastball during the game, just for the culture.
But no, it's the first trophy I've ever won.
Yeah. For anything?
No, not for anything. I won a couple spelling bees, not to brag. But you know about that, all right?
Only real G's around here in the Cooligans.
Okay, these G's do not move in silence. I'll tell you that much. You actually got to say it. Anyway.
I'll spell that. Put it in a sentence.
No, but this is my first athletic sort of trophy. I never really played a lot of competitive sports, like in school or anything. I played a lot, but I never joined the team. I always felt like I was too small, and I was very down on myself.
It's nuts that I have a bunch of athletic trophies and you have none.
Sure.
That's like when I meet a skinny guy with diabetes. I'm like,
Wow, the
You not me,
sensitivity.
my guy.
I'm out here living dangerously. And clearly, there must be no God.
It's like finding out someone else has to pay your taxes. It's like, here I am earning all this, and I got to pay for it.
So I did win a trophy, and this was awarded to me after the game. It was me, Taylor Rockwell from Total Soccer Show.
Played incredibly well.
A very talented player. He did a lot of the work. I set him up a lot though.
Yeah.
But this is it. This was the actual trophy. I thought it was going to be like just a little, get out of a little hobby shop. But no, this is the Bundesliga.
Like a miniature version of the actual Bundesliga trophy.
Which I forgot the name of it.
It has a name. It's like
Mineshaft.
It's like Hazeldugen Kugen.
The Manhattan.
Something.
This is called the Manhattan.
The Manhattan right there. The Manhattan Kugen. You're seeing it here live.
Say it. Meisterschal. Okay, I think I got it right.
This is what happens when you get producers.
I appreciate it. Google
stuff.
But no, this is just crazy.
But you played incredibly well, beat a bunch of people at the game, right?
British people
from all over the world.
All over the Brazilian people.
And you got a trophy, and I did not play. And guess what I got? A trophy, my guy. I did not steal this. I was legitimately handed my own Hugengagen. What is it? Meisterschal. Look at that, yo. I actually got one. And you know why I got one? Steve Cherundolo got one to honor his time in Bundesliga and for playing and for showing up and yada, yada, yada. And he was like, I would like to gift this to someone. And I was like, oh, this is going to be nice. He's going to give it to someone who played and lost because they didn't get one. And I said, what a nice, all of a sudden he hands it to me. And I'm like, that's even better. Oh, look at now there's people who played, lost, and didn't get a trophy. It makes my fat ass is going home with a trophy. I got my own Briesenkugen.
Okay.
Meisterschal.
It sounds, well, basically what ended up happening was he was supposed to award it to the MVP. He gave it to Taylor. Taylor already had one. So he was like, I'll give it back to Steve. And Steve was like, all right, I'll give it to Alexis. He
did not make that sound.
He made me chuckle a little bit.
Yeah.
So
he said I'm hilarious. He asked if I would follow him around the country, making him giggle. And I said, no, I gotta go home, Steve.
But no, not only did so after the tournament, we did go to the games, and we have to talk about just kind of the supporter culture out in Germany.
People who think the Premier League have the best atmosphere do not know what they're talking about. Shouts to the Premier League, but Bundesliga is on a whole nother level.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. And the first game that we went to, Eintracht and Bayern, I sort of didn't know what to expect, but we were
tentative because Bayern is such a huge club there. So we're like, great, we came out to watch the team get trashed. You know what I mean?
And it was the opposite team.
Boy, were we wrong.
It was Bayern did lose heavily, right? So, but the atmosphere is really what's incredible. The chants and everything at Eintracht were incredible, but really the one that stood out to us was the Düsseldorf against Cologne, because that was a derby, and it definitely
you're seeing like the big tifo come out, which is like sort of the badge and the flag of the city of Düsseldorf, and they had like smoke, and they had like this huge sort of like, you could see the choreography. We were right next to some of those people holding up the red, white, and sort of maroon pieces of paper.
Yeah,
it was really impressive to see the choreography involved in this, and just how much the fans care about the sport.
And it is very much the supporters are very much separate from the team itself, and this is throughout the entire league, where they take a lot of pride in doing everything on their own. We got to
meet the SLO. We got to meet the supporters
from Eintracht. Yeah.
Sort of the liaison that the front office has to sort of go talk to the supporters and then report back, like, what do they want us to do? What are they doing?
Because the supporters groups are so large in Bundesliga for some of the teams that they need they have a seat at the table, and they need people to sort of organize like that massive group of people. But the Cologne supporters were also incredible. This is the away section, so this is an away game for them, and this
is at halftime.
This is
when the second half is beginning. So they just had all these flares in their pockets for the whole game.
I don't know how they get these in the stadium. I don't know what the rules are, but there's clearly some permits.
This is what California looks like right now.
Oh, boy. What a terrible...
I mean, what I'm trying to say
is...
it looks like that section is on fire.
You're not wrong, but it is...
I'm not happy that that's what it looks like. But I'm saying, like, it looks like the section's on fire. That's extremely intimidating.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. And
LeBron actually got up and left his seat, and he was looking for another one. one.
Okay, that's why you come here. That's why you tune in.
Sorry. I'd like to apologize now to both Bundesliga and LeBron James. But no, I mean, if you're an away fan, if you're a fan of the home team and you see that the away fans have just lit fire to their section, that's intimidating.
Yeah, you get a little nervous. I think that was the most impressive thing. I think for Bayern and for Cologne, they're both the away teams. The supporter sections are tremendous, and they are almost as organized as the home team. It's just less of them, right? There's a rule that 10% of the ticket sales have to be for the away section, and depending on the size of the stadium, they basically sell out. So it could be like 4,000 supporters of the away team. So they have their own drums, they have flares, they have giant flags, and and sometimes you hear them more than you hear the home team, depending on like what's going on in the game. But the energy in itself is pretty wild.
I also want to bring up the whistling. I mean, not only am I a little jealous that I can't whistle, but
you can't whistle at all.
I can't whistle at all. Look, I'm breathing on
I can
like
do
an
a cute
eagle.
whistle. I can't do a cat call whistle. I can't like harass whistle, that's what it sounds like out in Germany.
Yeah.
It is so. I mean, there are like
what am I wearing? I mean,
this is a crew neck, sir.
Damn,
I'm not even revealing.
You never seen neck hair before, my guy?
But it is so. That is like the one part you. I don't think you really hear that over broadcast.
It's one of my favorite moments because it's so intense that it actually hurts your ears.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine how the players are like comfortable with this. But at one point, Christian looks at me. He's like, "Do they all have a device or something?" And I was like, "It was loud." I mean, it was just like it's a specific type of whistle that like you would do. Like I don't know how to explain. Like a boat's coming. It's like a boat alarm or something. It's like a very odd whistle. It's so strong and so deafening.
Yeah.
And the whole stadium, it's all bouncing around. I'm like, could y'all stop for a minute?
It feels like, I mean, you just use your imagination. If like 10,000 people are whistling, you
50,000 people are whistling.
You get a little distracted, right? We were talking about this at the game. We're like, as a player, how can you not hear that noise?
Yeah.
And try to focus on the game, because they do it whenever the opposing team has the ball.
Like whenever there's like a momentum shift and it looks like the opposing team is getting into their team's half, they start this whistle and I'd be like, I'd give them the ball back. I'm like, how do we stop this whistling?
Because I'm going to hear this in my nightmares. Without a doubt.
100%.
Yeah. So like that's really, I mean, you can't really, it's almost incomparable, the level of atmosphere. Like we haven't been to South America yet, but that's really the sort of the next thing that I'm thinking of. Like that's what is can compete with.
Yeah, Argentinian League, invite us out, dude.
Exactly,
Come on,
yo. I'm like worried what you're gonna eat out there, man. Your finest pork knuckle, sir.
But get a stretcher to bring me around. It's gonna be an asado every day. Your boy gonna get gout. A lot of wonderful stuff happened. It's not just us hanging out with a bunch of whistlers. Okay.
That's right.
MLS, even though it's not necessarily MLS Cup yet, they decided to give out Player of the Year with the Landon Donovan MVP.
That's right. It never gets, doesn't feel normal every time you see it. The Landon Donovan MVP trophy.
It always feels like they put the wrong name of the player when they hand it to the player.
It's gonna
imagine they had the Alexis Guerrero's, award for excellence, and they gave it to Elon Musk. You'd be like, this seems to be a problem here.
The humanitarian award named after Alexis. No, but yes, Carlitos Vela expectedly wins MVP for Major League Soccer, and he had an unbelievable season. You got to give him all the credit in the world. He had a couple games. Golden Boot, broke the record for the most goals. Yep. Did not make it to the MLS Cup final, but, had a great season nonetheless. Exactly. And I mean, I kind of think that was him at 60% trying, 70% trying? Not to upset Bob Bradley. No, we've talked about him a whole bunch. I mean, the season that LAFC had is really remarkable, right? And a lot of people have the debate of are they the best team ever? Who cares? I could care less if it's the best team ever. They were incredibly entertaining to watch. They were incredibly dominant. And for a new team, it's not easy, right? So not at all. The fact, what I found interesting was actually some of the other people that were on the list. That was like Maxi Morales got a couple votes. Joseph Martinez, Zlatan Ibrahimovic was second. But fifth in MVP voting was surprisingly Heber. Heber from NYCFC, the striker, got it must just a fraction of a couple percentage points, but he was on the list, which at that point, I guess it must have been difficult. People didn't know who was like the 5th best player, but I was kind of surprised that he was on.
I mean, it's not necessarily 5th best player. People just vote for who wins it. So that means some people voted for him to win the MVP award.
Yeah, which is wild.
Wasn't even here all season.
He was not, but he did have a good season. I mean, and he had a couple injuries that kept him out a couple games. So, I mean, imagine how many, he wouldn't have won MVP, but imagine how much higher votes how many more votes he would have gotten. It was just like a strange name to see on there, but still impressive. Nowhere. He did have a good season. I mean, he had the game-winning goal against the Red Bulls and Derby. Like, he had a couple.
He had the back heel nutmeg of Robles.
Yeah, he had a couple big moments. So, but still surprising nonetheless, but cool. But congratulations, Carlitos. I'm glad we got to see. We got to see him play twice, right?
But we got to see the LA Derby, which is incredible.
Exactly. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was so MLS Cup is
it's coming up.
And
Toronto,
and we're gonna be there.
That's right. The traveling contingent. That's right.
We're very tired.
There it is. Seattle versus Toronto.
We're very tired. We have just mostly bags. We're just going to be, this show is going to just us be bags under our eyes every time we get back from another location.
I kind of feel bad worse for you because you also had the Japan trip before this.
That's right.
Montreal's in the same time zone for me. But all of a sudden, my body has no idea what time it is. I'm just sleeping every 6 hours. My body wants to take a nap. It's pretty messed up.
Speaking of Japan, I don't know. We didn't prepare this, but we have the cow piss is here.
Oh!
Can we have someone bring it? Dan, do you mind bringing me that? So this was the drink that. Thank you. Cheers,
thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
Here it is, just a warm bottle of cow piss.
So this was the drink that I had in Japan, and that we were talking about when I called in from Japan, and it's called cow piss.
Can I ask
soda.
You, what made you? Just from seeing this, what made you want to drink this liquid? Because I can tell you what it looks like to me, but I have a feeling it's going to be bleeped out.
It is, so it's apparently a yogurt drink.
It's a murky, white, milky. Imagine you put water and milk and it became one. Okay. There's a term for that.
Well, we were making.
You're saying it in your head, guys, just as you're watching.
We don't have to say anything, okay?
Like, you're gonna say this out loud, and whoever you live with is gonna be like, "Wait, you want me to go over there?" So you get me? So things change when you become a television show, folks. Also, we got in trouble during one of the breaks for the 90 minutes running around. So we're gonna drink this.
So yeah,
Is this bubbly?
I'm about to find out.
Hey.
Okay, yeah, there's a little seltzer in there. Look, a little carbonated.
All right. It smells kind of like Sprite. Oh, okay. God, it pours just like it, too. I called my doctor once because mine came out like this. I'm not making that up. She told me I drank too much water.
Oh, okay.
She said also Google before you call my service. It's a true story. She's like, please don't call me telling me that your discharge is water.
Anyway, this is a yogurt-based soda.
That's what they want you to think.
Cheers. Okay. This should be on Drinks with Binks, I think.
All right. It tastes like Sprite.
Yeah.
Just drink Sprite. Yeah.
It's a little.
Why are you drinking?
It's kind of Sprite. Yeah. It's a soda-y yogurt flavor.
I get the yogurt. It's strangely in the back of the throat is where you get the flavor of it.
Okay, this is probably our most disgusting segment, I believe, if I have to say.
I would agree with you. You're the one who brought this up.
It was it. We had to use it, okay, before it went bad in 2085.
That's right. I'm surprised they don't distribute this in tissues. There's no reason to put this in a bottle.
Yeah, look at this. A little throwback Thursday to some cow piss.
It is somewhat refreshing.
Yeah, it's popular in Japan. Look, they had it everywhere.
Oh my God, dude, it's really high in protein too. No, I'm joking. That one I made up. I can't read the nutrients. It's all like in Japanese.
It's all Japanese. All right. Wow. So I'm glad we got to this. This is definitely great television. We had there was some news that broke early, right before we started taping the show.
Yeah.
Domi Tarrant ESPN reported that Domi Torrent of NYCFC will not be returning as head coach.
Here's the shocking part.
What?
Is willing to stay in MLS or North America.
Yeah, that's kind of been the crazy thing. It's not a common thing you hear from the foreign coaches come here and it's like, oh, I'm going to go start at Atlanta United and then go to FC Cincinnati.
Yeah.
That's not like usually the move.
What is happening? I mean, he comes from the City Football Group.
Yeah.
He was Pep Guardiola's right-hand man. Now he wants to leave that system?
Yeah.
They have like 14 teams they own. go manage Torque in Uruguay. What are you doing?
That is a look. This is all kind of speculative, but he after NYCFC lost to Toronto FC,
he threw all the shade.
Yeah, he really went in about like
he spilled all the tea. Dude.
Yeah,
he let
it's like go. How it's a little annoying because like you could also voice your grievances while you have the job. You know,
no, you can.
You can say you could be a little critical.
You know, this is the difference between me and you. There's a lot of differences. You've watched this show so far. The biggest difference, one of the big differences is like during an exit interview, how you and I would react.
Sure.
I'd be like, oh, you want to know why? Christian would be like, well, no, I had a great time, but I got a better offer. I'd be like, this person's trash. This person's trash. This person should brush their teeth. And I know they quit 3 weeks ago, but call them up and tell them, you know? I would burn it all down where you don't. You got to let it all out.
Well, he did it after they lost, but with the assumption he's still under contract. So it's not an exit interview. It's basically saying like I'm quitting.
He's calling their bluff.
You think so?
He has a year left on his contract. That's why he was like, I'm just spill all this out and go ahead and fire me.
Okay.
He showed up. He showed well enough how good of a coach he is in the league to warrant another job.
And you think he would leave New York City to go coach somewhere else?
It's trash.
Wait,
where else?
What's trash? What are you talking about?
It's trash to leave New York and want to go coach somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, and I understand maybe he hates coaching at Yankee Stadium, but maybe whatever.
Maybe.
But
he also voiced his frustration with how long it took to sign players like Abe Ayer.
Exactly.
Like so it's more of a shot at the front office than I think it is the city itself.
So, and he did mention after that playoff game that he was like NYCFC will be fine. He basically like even if Patrick is not here, even if I'm not here, the next coach will be just fine. So he feels that structurally the team is okay, and regardless of who's the coach, that they'll be fine. Which I'm not that confident of. We saw Jason Christ. We saw that era. We saw how that worked out.
Right.
But this...
Hold on. Is this a sign that maybe Pep is leaving City? Because he's Pep's right-hand man.
You think they're going to reconnect somewhere else?
So maybe he doesn't want to take the job. Because remember, the schedules are offset, which means he would have to leave NYCFC mid-season. Maybe he doesn't want to do that. Maybe he knows Pep is leaving at the end of the season. He knows something we don't, right? And he's like, yo, I might as well clear my calendar right now so that when he moves somewhere, I'll pick up and go. Which the question becomes, where's Pep Guardiola going? Imagine he becomes coach of NYCFC and Domi's like, God damn it. I already talked smack.
That whole diatribe you just delivered we should have a gossip section for like a little
page 6?
Page 6 for
well, you heard what Christian's girlfriend told my wife, who told Jenny's mom that he heard.
Yeah, but just for managerial moves across global football.
I'm one step ahead of everybody else.
No, this with the success that NYCFC had this season and winning the Eastern Conference, they're gonna be in Champions League. And if this is true and he is gone, what are they? Who is gonna be there? There's gonna be games real soon in Champions League.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna have the same issue that Atlanta United have because they're in Champions League, had a new coach, and how did that go? They had terrible games that had a terrible start. So that's probably what we're gonna see during Champions League.
What if De Boer gets fired?
Okay.
And Domi Torrent becomes the manager of Atlanta United.
Okay, I'm listening. Please.
All right, but hold on a second. Now, there's more to this, right? Like De Boer leaves a note in the desk that says, yo, here's where the treasure's buried. I don't know. What I'm saying is imagine that happens. Imagine De Boer gets fired and Domi, maybe Torrent has a job lined up we don't know about.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, with this kind of scenario, with him just sort of leaving after a good season, which doesn't really make any sense, right? You would think
something has to be, he has to have something lined up or he's made good enough money or something is happening where he's able to sort of be this relaxed about, talking,
I'll be honest. I hope he stays. I hope that this is not true, but who knows?
Whatever, leave.
All right. All right.
Things keep happening in Europe that we have to keep talking about.
Correct.
And we don't want to talk about it. So we wish that Italy as a country would stop doing it. You're mainly the ones who do it. Mario Balotelli, an English player, an Italian player, Italian passport, plays for the Italian national team, happens to be black, happens to be playing, and Italians doing what they do when they say black person. They did the playing. They did monkey sounds. I mean, it happens in every Italian game at this point.
I mean, okay, you're painting with quite broad strokes right now.
I mean, have you earned, has that league earned the right for me to be less?
They have to address it. They have to sort it out. They have to, address these issues and implement real punishment. But the reason we hate talking about this because it happens this season. I don't know I don't know if it's sweeps week out in Italy because they are really trying to get in front of the newspaper.
Italy is on one.
The reason we're talking about this is because Mario Balotelli, who has dealt with this for years, really at least tried to do something now, right? In European soccer, they have FIFA has implemented rules where there's a protocol. They give a warning if they hear racist chants at first, like over the PA. Then referee suspends the game, and then third strike, basically, game is called off. So Mario Balotelli every time he touches the ball, hears a bunch of monkey chants. So he grabs the ball and
punts it into the crowd. And then walks off.
And then starts to walk off. And now everybody on basically both teams are like, yo, dude, basically calm down, stay, don't leave. And he's like, what am I supposed to do?
Why? Why should he have to stay there?
Yeah.
Why? You're getting taunted. If every time I picked up a soccer ball or did something with it, a bunch of people started yelling, "Spick, spick, spick," I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you'll at least say like, hey, yo, tone it down.
I know. First of all, when did my in-laws get here?
Yeah, it's disgusting. It's disgusting.
I hope my wife doesn't see that.
It's horrible. I mean, that's your problem, man. I know. You realize there's a bunch of cameras in here. You should,
I mean, I've been egregious since day one. What's the difference?
And that is kind of why we're talking about this.
I also want to say that our head writer happens to be in the room and is fully squirming. But it's true. Like the fact that he's kicking the ball into the stands and walking off, I can't believe anyone has anything less than but full respect for that.
Yeah.
Eric Cantona kicks somebody in the crowd and they show more respect to him than a guy who's walking up because he's being racially taunted.
Yeah, it is
ridiculous.
It was something that was bound to happen, right? There's going to be these responses from the players that are being taunted, and they have to take some sort of stand. Like, I mean, By
the way, there's video of the monkey chants, right? There's people are always recording.
100% proof. There's no. It's not.
But here's what the city of Verona. He was playing Hellas Verona, I believe you pronounce it. It looks like Hellas Verona, more like hella racist. Am I right? They were playing Verona, and here's what the city of Verona.
Good thing you did this, otherwise,
God forbid. I mean, I ran into a mic. I didn't want Christian to hear it. That's what this is. I'm trying to block Christian from it. Like, by the way, hella racist. And Christian's like, I didn't hear that. You whispering over there? The mayor of Verona is thinking of suing Mario Balotelli for spreading falsehoods about his city.
Oh yeah, what? And now you know what? And
there's video proof. What are you, R. Kelly?
We all have to stand with the mayor of Verona for such bravery.
In the light of fire. I mean,
comical, but I think that Balotelli, who is a very controversial figure, but he's dealt with it for so long, and this is the response. This is how players they don't play the national anthem during games in Europe. Right. So this is their form of protest to be like, yo, this is it. This is enough. How much do we have to deal with this game to game? And in Italy, it's becoming a provocation. They're like, oh, you don't want us to do it? Well, this is why we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
And now they need to implement bans and really do something because it's ridiculous.
Well, the guy who heads up the Curva, they're like Barra Brava, went on a radio show or a podcast, I'm not sure, and he used the N-word about Balotelli.
Yeah.
Saying like, oh, there's one on our team. And horrific. I can't believe the conversation wasn't ended right at that point. Like they asked him follow-up question. What follow-up question do you have? What's your favorite book? Oh, okay, Mind Chef. Cool. Or whatever. Mind Column. Mind Chef. I don't know. But like, you know what I mean? Like, what's the follow-up question to that? My dude just used the N-word. Done. I will give Hellas Verona this much. They banned him for 10 years from the stadium. Are they going to uphold the ban? No. The guy's going to put on the glasses that has the mustache and the nose, and he's going to walk right in. It's not a problem. I mean, let's stop acting like there's no corruption.
He's gonna show up in the Baker Mayfield costume.
No, I'm his brother Luigi. We just look alike. All right, get back in there, buddy. Watch the soccer game.
Just disappointing, and I hate that. I don't know what is it about this season. I don't know if in general across Europe that there has been this like sort of alt-right kind of movement, or what. I don't know why. I'm sure. I don't know if it's happening. If we're seeing it more now.
Are they playing Trump rallies before the game? What's happening?
Just to hype everybody up, you know,
yeah. Get everyone going.
You know, he's been getting booed every game, but they cheer loudly in Italy. Just absurd, man. I don't know what else. You know, I don't know what we can do. I don't know what. I mean, we're trying to sort of add some levity.
An animal that Italians don't like, and then whenever an Italian fan walks past us, we make that noise of that animal. How's that sound?
It's an interesting idea. Look, we'll leave it in the suggestion box.
Why is that suggestion box a shredder?
Man, I don't know. It's just again, just disappointing. I don't know. I wish there was something that we can't. At least some progress to say. Because I believe the next ban was a partial ban for the Verona team. Like so, they're gonna have.
I think it's if your team does this, you get relegated to the.
You gotta dock
third
points.
Done.
You gotta dock points. There's nothing else left to do. So hopefully there's some progress, guys.
Hey, everybody, thanks so much for listening to the podcast. We just want to break it with a word from one of our sponsors, Live Breathe Football.
That's right. We got a new sponsor. You know, Live Breathe Football. We hung out with them in Philly.
That's right, baby. He's one of our good friends.
That's right, Ibun, and he's a part of one of the videos that we did with Fang. So
they also did all that dope Portland Thorns and all the incredible Sporting Kansas City stuff, which I got that pullover jacket. Yeah. It's one of my favorite things. I brought it all the way to Germany with me. I love that thing so much.
Live Breathe Football has been around a long time. They make absolutely amazing gear, very high quality stuff.
It's all cut and sew too. That he's not just like buying something that's already made and just throwing a label on it. He's creating, he's finding the fabric himself. He's making he's doing everything on his own. He has the forms, everything on his own. Everything is absolutely kind of like almost bespoke, but for you to buy.
Yeah, it is a very family owned business. You know what I mean?
Family owned business.
No, but it's great to see Live Breathe Football kind of thriving, doing a lot more projects. So thank you for being a sponsor. But for our Cooligans listeners, if you guys want to get some amazing gear from Live Breathe Football, go to Live Breathe Football, and football spelled the Spanish way, FUTBOL, and use the promo code Gulliest. Use the code Gulliest, you can get 15% off your first order. So
that's incredible. So Christmas is coming up. You got a Portland Thorn fan in your family, you got a Sporting Kansas City fan in your family, or you just got someone who likes dope gear in your family.
Exactly.
Buy it all right now in that first order, 15% off. Just use the term Gulliest. That's GULLIEST, Gulliest.
Hey, all right, we got a Millie Rock once in a while.
Oh yeah, you Millie Rock?
Yeah, we got a Millie Rock in front of our English guests once in a while.
Because we do it on any block, Luke.
Okay, even if there's cobblestone on that block.
Yo, son, it's a little slippery if it just rained, but we still gonna hit it with the
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. That's how we just kind of intimidate our guests before we start.
Should we take a pause for our guests and the listeners to Google what we just talked about?
No, we are excited to be here. My name is Christian Polanco.
That's right. I'm Alexis Guerrero.
All right, we are your favorite stand-up comedians that host the funniest soccer show you've ever seen on
in
television.
The world, you've ever heard, you've ever seen, all that. But we're not just that. We also happen to be the gulliest soccer show in the world.
That's right. And today, helping us get a little bit more gully.
Wow, gully.
We have Luke Moore. Luke, welcome to the show, man.
That's right.
Thank you very much for having me. I've understood about 1 in 4 words so far, so I'm hoping that's going to get better as we go along.
Isn't it a shock that we all speak the same language?
Yeah. 2 people divided by a common language. You know? I've never felt more British either.
All right. Okay, we're gonna put a hat on you, put it backwards. Everything will become going to be very different after the show.
We're going to dress you up like Cameron in that pink photo. You have the pink hat, the pink phone, the pink mink. Yeah. It's all going to come out.
Hosting those live shows coming out in that mink. That'll be great.
Luke's also going to do a grime breakdown segment for us.
Yeah. I'll do some road rap straight out of East London. No problem.
Dude, we're going to do a little UK drill right now.
All right, Luke. So maybe we should give a quick little biography, a little synopsis of who you are, what the Football Ramble is, and what you're doing here in my country.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you very much for allowing me into your country.
That's
I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Yeah. We're customs now.
The Christian states of America. I am one quarter of the Football Ramble, which is a show that goes out in the UK Monday and Friday. It's the largest independent football show or soccer show, as you guys would say, in the UK. But we do Football Ramble Daily now as well. So we have a daily podcast all about soccer every single day, Monday to Saturday, every week, with a variety of different styles. And like I say, it's the biggest independent show in the UK, and probably that means the world, because we're the centre of football, aren't we? In the UK,
yeah.
Don't ever forget it.
And don't Google it either. I mean, you've come this far now, where you're sitting in a television studio in America.
Yeah,
that's. Two comedians that do a soccer podcast. That didn't exist. Things like that didn't exist, especially in America when you guys picked up microphones in 2007. Exactly.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
How does it, just looking at the way the landscape is, do you guys feel like you had an influence in that? Do you guys feel like you were just first to bat? Like, are you able to look back at it and sort of look at it from a bird's eye view? What are your thoughts when you do?
Well, obviously we got it on the ground floor. I mean, we did it first, but because we're older. I mean, when people say, "Oh yeah, long time this, long time," it just basically means another way of saying I'm old, which is, I'm sort of used to now. But I don't know, I'll flip the question back at you. Did you guys know what the show was before you started doing your show? I mean, you better tell me.
I did. You were not.
Yeah, he was very confident, but he had absolutely no foundation or idea of how it was going to happen.
No, but did you know about our show before?
Yeah, no. Did you
about their show?
Football Ramble.
Oh, yeah. I had no. When we started this podcast, I wasn't like consuming soccer content that wasn't like already wildly popular, or meaning like, or easily available. Like listening to a soccer podcast was crazy to me. I wasn't that in the weeds. So it took a while before I heard it.
So there you go, Alexis. No, we're not influential at all.
But you were to me. I mean, I had heard it, and I was like, yo, I think I could do better. I was like, yo, this is garbage.
And now you proved it. You proved it now.
I'm only kidding. No, I think the one thing that what I appreciated of the show is that I've always felt, as comedians, what you want to do on stage is have someone sort of get the understanding of like, this is what it would be like to have a conversation with me at a bar.
Yeah.
That's at least what I go for.
Right, okay.
And I feel like you guys did that with your podcast.
Yeah, we try to.
Yeah, like you guys do, like you're, taking the piss. I'm trying to think of other words you would use. Like you talk shit about each other. Like, but you guys make fun of each other, and also like when somebody makes a mistake or says something is slightly like off cue, you guys jump on that. Yeah. And what I love about that is every other show, that especially in America, it would be former players talking, and like, soccer content can be a little stodgy, a little stiff. MLS has their own content, which has to be kind of a little bit safer because it's their own league. So when I heard you guys, I was like, oh,
well, it's the same in the UK even now. I mean, it's better now, but back when we started, you had to be either a journalist or an ex-pro to even have a show. And the reason we started the podcast is because it was our way of having control over the type of show we wanted to make, rather than going to audition and make a show that someone else wanted to make. And we've always kind of resisted that outside influence. I think we've tried to maintain independence as much as we can, because ultimately I think that's what people like us for, the fact that we're quite honest and we're quite fun, and we do try and invite people into a bar conversation, really.
Right. And as far as like, I know one issue, or at least goal early on, we were like, we need to get a player on the show. That'll give us all the credibility in the world. But I imagine when it comes to me, and we sort of experienced this in Germany, where you can really tell in Europe, they do not really care for the media. They do not want them around. They do not want, because they're just going to sort of ruin their day. As far as trying to immerse yourself in like the proper journalism world and actually like get players on the show, how did you sort of approach that? Was that even important to you guys?
Not at the start, but we do a show every Wednesday now called Ramble Meets, where we interview someone from the world of football, and it can be anyone from, we've had Jamie Carragher on, I've just done one with a current England international, but it can be anyone. I had Howard Webb, who was the World Cup final referee in 2010.
He manages the pro referee.
He's a pro referee.
Right, cool. Okay, so and the way I did that was I just calling in favours, finding out who's got a book out and they want to sell it, and having a bit of a trade off. The problem is, if you do it through the clubs, a lot of the time they want to have sign off on it. They want to know what you're going to say. They want to pre-approve all the questions. And that's not really the kind of content we want to make. So it's a bit of a balancing act, really.
No, you guys are very similar in us in that, or we're very similar to you in that sense, where the times we've tried to reach out through the clubs, it's been bureaucracy hell.
Yeah.
And then when they do have the player, they're like, could you send us the questions ahead of time? Dude, we're comedians. We don't prepare for anything.
Yeah. Well, unless you're like an official partner or an official sponsor.
Exactly.
And if you're not that thing, then you're not going to, I mean, there's no benefit to them, is there? There's absolutely no net benefit to them letting you do it. So they're probably not going to let you.
Yeah, it's great because I feel there's a sort of similarity in that, like we like would sneak into parties that where we know like other players are going to be, or like we really.
Oh yeah, we're breaking the law, dude.
We're trying every
You're just
angle.
not getting invited to any parties?
All right. Sore subject. You've switched from a show that's on a couple times a week to now 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Why are you giving yourself that much work? You guys are really popular. That's when you do that's when you call in to the new hosts and remind them who you are, and you're still counting money.
Just because I want, more money. No amount of money is ever going to be enough. I'm insatiable for it.
Yeah, big taxes out there too, right?
Yeah. So they say.
Yeah.
So they say. I'm not going to discuss my tax arrangement.
Of course not. No, dude. Hide it from the government, baby. This is America. What did anything precede that? Is it really just because you guys wanted to make more money, or did you see that there was more of a need for more content?
So I also co-run a podcast network called Stakhanov, which does lots of different types of shows. And one of the trends we saw in the podcast world is the fact that lots of news shows, as in like news and entertainment kind of stuff, they go every day.
Yeah.
And it's quite a competitive marketplace in the UK for football podcasts. There's 2 or 3 quite big ones, ourselves included. And we wanted to innovate in that area, really. So we just thought we can make lots of different types of shows throughout the week. So if you're someone who needs something to listen to on your commute every day, there'll be something there for you. But if that 4-person show, which is a bit of a circus, isn't really your thing, well, how about an interview show? How about a kind of harder news show? How about a European football show? And giving people options, basically. Just always trying to not rest on our laurels and make sure we innovate. That's the idea.
Yeah, and that's great because you are always pushing yourself, and it can be, obviously you want to keep standing out and keep innovating. And you guys are also touring, right?
Yes.
You had just done a tour in the UK, and now you're here in the US doing a couple shows in the US and Canada. My main question before we talk about the shows themselves, you're in America. I'm curious what your perception is, or how you're going to approach these particular fans and their appreciation for American soccer or Major League Soccer. Are we here to just talk about how amazing the Premier League is and just poo-poo what we have here? Yeah. Or are we going to show a little bit of sympathy and care and handle it a little nicely?
I'm getting a feeling this is a leading question.
Yeah, dude. It's heavily loaded in the back.
You better answer this correctly.
When you say Major League Soccer, what do you mean? I'm just kidding.
Just the greatest league in the
world. We do a more comedy-focused show live, so it's not so much about tactics, not so much about analysis of games. It's more about the circus around the game, similar to what you guys do.
Right.
And we try and set it up with set pieces, with videos. We do little games, all that kind of stuff. But the important thing for us, to answer your question at least semi-seriously, is to not patronise American fans of football, because I know you have to really seek out football in this country because there's lots of other big sports around. And if you like it, you're really into it. And we respect that. So we won't be talking down to any fans or patronising them or anything like that.
Okay.
I know one of the things happened when I was in Europe. A lot of fans were like, "Oh, you're an Arsenal fan from America? Yeah. Oh, that's plastic." And I'm like, how am I supposed to get to every game, dude? You know how much flights?
My experience is most American fans know more about football than I do,
really?
because they're really into it.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I've chatted to American fans of the Premier League, and they've been talking in amazing detail, and then they'll go at the end, of course, but you know all about that, and I'm thinking, no, I don't.
No, dude, I speak into microphones.
I understand a word you just said.
Yeah. How do you? I mean, you followed football your whole life. How do you feel like looking at the way it's grown? Like, Manchester City has a satellite club here. All these clubs are having academies in America. Are you someone who prefers that sort of old school anti-modern football?
No. I'm not against modern football. That's the kind of movement that people use on Twitter. I think I spent a lot of my childhood going to watch pretty terrible standard football in my local team, and it wasn't that enjoyable. I mean, I enjoyed the process of it at the time, but looking back on it now, the standard of football was terrible. And what we have to understand now is it's a global game. I mean, it's just as likely that a kid from, like Pulisic coming and playing for Chelsea, it's just as likely as a kid from the south of England or the north of England playing for Chelsea, because that's how far the tentacles they've reached now. I mean, they're looking for players all over the world. You know as well as I do, the reason that Man City are involved in New York is because they want to tap into an untapped market there and get players over. You can't fight against the tide.
Also,
I don't want to be
hide money for the financial fair play.
Again, that's your statement, not mine. But you know what? You can't be one of those old. You don't want to go into one of those old men who just complains about everything new. You've got to try and embrace it. I'm all for it. I'm a fan of the game. Generally, I'm not someone who only likes the team I support and only likes the game on the pitch. I love all the pomp and circumstance around it. Yes, it's ridiculous sometimes, but entertainment is ridiculous sometimes, and it's just an extension of the entertainment industry for me anyway.
Yeah, because we normally, like a couple years ago, we had we talked about a segment from a show called Soccer AM where who was it on the
Bullard?
show? Jimmy Bullard.
Yeah.
And they were really knocking just the fact that there's
He
no
was doing like there's no relegation, playoffs, as if they don't have that in the championship.
So it's like I feel like a lot of times we have to be with England, we have to be very defensive all the time. And at this point, and I think that's sort of the conceit of our show, where we're starting to be offensive because it's like, how much are we going to deal with this? We're
you got to fight back.
Thank you.
A little bit.
Yeah. Like here's our
thing. Look what happened in 1776. You get pushed and you'll fight back. And we should learn our lesson.
At some point, your bullet would throw your tea in the water.
Exactly.
But like I think for us, I think a lot of the fans that came after that or because of that were like, we've never heard someone sort of defend American soccer, and it was like because no one wanted to, No. But we're happy to do it only because it's what we got. And you're a fan of Portsmouth, you get it,
of course.
Right?
I mean, first of all, you understand that Soccer AM is a bit of a basic show now. It used to be quite legendary back in the day, but it's kind of lost its way. And a serious guy in the UK or girl in the UK likes football wouldn't be worried too much about what Soccer AM say. Yeah, that's point number one. Point number two. We need to embrace the idea that other people like football as well. Well, the problem is in England, we can be quite sort of possessive and quite sort of selfish about stuff. And we need to be more embracing of this kind of thing.
Well, you mean the country that's saying it's coming home? Yeah. The World Cup could be.
But the Germans fans sing that to laugh at us. So whenever Germany beats England in like a tournament, they'll start singing it's coming home.
I would love to hear that in a German accent.
Yeah. It sounds quite weird.
East coming.
At Bayern Munich, they sing FC Bayern, Fußballmeisters as well, which is amazing. That's an amazing chant.
Sounds like a children's song.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We were there and the two fans were chanting at each other. And we were like, what do they say? Because it was feeling like a call and repeat. And there was one German guy with us. And he's like, they're saying like F you. And they're saying, no, F you.
Yeah, really? Okay,
that's the chant back and forth.
That's what it boils down to. Yeah.
I was like, all right, well, we got, at the end of the day, that's the lowest common denominator.
Every single argument between men has ever been.
100%. Friends or enemies.
Yeah,
it's essentially that.
I did want to ask about, just because we've been seeing this, VAR is new, right? In the Premier League.
So I was going to get through an hour of my life not talking about VAR.
But I'm only curious about it because it feels like this is the one thing as far as with American soccer and in MLS, it seems to be handled a little bit better than it is in England.
Because we have like NFL, we get it. You know what I mean?
How do you feel about it? And why don't the referees just look at the damn screen?
Go to the monitor.
Just go to their monitor.
That's a question I've been asking for a few weeks myself. How do I feel about it? I don't really like it. I don't think it's that necessary, to be honest. I think it's a little bit over the top. I mean, the stats in the Premier League, at least the stats going into the season when we introduced VAR, the referees were getting something like 93% of decisions right. The offsides were 98, 99%. It wasn't really something we're crying out for. Yeah. The problem is that it's so conceited now because people will talk about the amount of money involved and all the rest of it. But ultimately, even with VAR, it's still going to be a game refereed by human beings because the laws of the game are drawn up to involve a lot of refereeing interpretation. So Howard Webb said when I interviewed him for Football Ramble Daily, he said, I'll referee a game differently on this day than I will on this day because it's a different type of game. If I have to
I got an argument with my wife this morning. I feel a little different.
I would like the cut of this dude's jib. So it's going to be a bit chippy out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're off. So it's kind of an interesting. I think it was all too quickly seen as some kind of panacea that was going to affect and stop all the problems of the game. Yeah. And it was never going to do that. And it hasn't done that. And I'd be very surprised if it carries on in the current form.
Everybody was talking about like, those of us who have podcasts or comment on the game, this is going to be something that's going to give us less to talk about. I feel like it's given us more to talk about. Yeah. But has it gotten to the point in England where it feels like it's annoying? Because England, for some reason, just watching from the outside in, it feels like you guys don't like any of those changes when it comes to the sport of soccer.
Well, it gets to the point where you talk about that more than you talk about the game itself, which is annoying. And now we get to a stage where we have to say, all right, we've had enough of VAR for the moment, so we're going to ignore it. But then sometimes when the issues are so big, you can't really ignore it. So it leaves you in a bit of a difficult place. But the very idea that, I mean, people were saying this before it started, the very idea that in England, that as soon as they brought in video assistant referees, people were just going to stop having opinions is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Especially in the sport of soccer in England. Could you imagine? Like, no, actually, I'm cool with it.
You won't be able to find a human being in England that hasn't got an opinion of some sort on football. So it's not going to happen.
What do you think is next for soccer? So we're seeing a lot of these clubs going out, buying clubs in other countries, developing players in other countries. I think the one thing that a lot of people are noticing is not that many English players are playing in the Premier League. What do you think is next? Do you think is that something that's going to be focused on, or do you think it's grown too big that it can't sort of handle that?
I think robot footballers.
No, let's do it.
Yeah, giant robot footballers.
Yeah, dude, drone wars.
Yeah, BattleBots.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to see.
Yeah. Substitutions from drones would be hilarious.
That's it. All bets are off. Just do that. That's what I think. No, I'm only joking. I think, what do I think is going to be next? Well, I think the spectre at the feast is this kind of European Super League that everyone keeps talking about. Yeah. They keep making manoeuvres behind the scenes, trying to make that happen, trying to kind of formalise a league between the top European teams that kind of supersedes the domestic leagues in all the relevant countries. Whether that comes, I don't know. That's definitely what they're trying to do, though, the powers that be, I think.
Would you be against that? Like, all right, so the US is about the size of Europe, let's just say, right? Sure. I mean, there's a lot of travel involved here, and we have a league, right? Yeah. Maybe not the most successful league in the world, but it's getting there, right? England is a relatively small country. You can get to most places just by train if you want, by bus. Very few flights have to happen, but we seem to be able to handle it here. Imagine the two best clubs of every domestic sort of top flight went into Champions League, which was a league in and of itself. So it had home and away dates and a full schedule. And there was, whoever was top of the table got sort of picked as the world champion. It wasn't sort of a bracket system as you use now. Do you think that's something that people would be for or against?
Against, because I think it misunderstands fundamentally the culture of what it means to be a football fan in England. I mean, we've got 92 teams in that small country you describe. It is a small country, but it's got 92 professional teams in it. And what football is in England is far more about the competition itself. It's far more than that. Sorry, it's more about the travel, the camaraderie, the going to away games, the travelling to the games and back. It's football clubs at their best in England are focal points of communities. Definitely true for a team like Everton, who you support. And I think anything that undermines the fabric of that, is going to be very, very damaging, not just to the sport in the country, but to the country itself. And it's something we should be very wary of, I think.
But it's only two clubs, right?
You're not going to miss two clubs.
It's the two best clubs. Right?
So say City and any other team that's not United, right? So they go.
Well, you reckon just get rid of them? Forget about them.
But they go send United anyway, just so you don't have to deal with them. But you send them off to this European competition to some degree. Like soccer is like a war game, no? Like you strike, you don't attack. You attack, striking, defending, all those things. It's a point of forget the word now, but the line of confrontation, all these things. It's basically war games. War in Europe, that's normal, right? You guys love that stuff.
Yes, they love that stuff.
Right? Like it's kind of like imagine an English team wins that league.
I think, I mean, my politics isn't amazing, but the United States quite fond of a war themselves.
Oh, buddy, we'll start it. We'll just never end it. Give us that oil.
But it does show that, especially in your point, like the connection to sport, to a club, can get people to be very passionate about it, which is why they will be so defensive about making changes and making changes to tradition.
There's still 90 other professional clubs in that country.
Yes, but look at how when an American says the word soccer on Twitter, what happens? It's like, it's called football, mate.
Yeah. You can't lose the two best teams of any sport in any territory and go, well, it's not going to make any difference. It makes a huge difference.
I mean, they'll still play the home game.
You've not thought this through. That's my problem.
I have.
I need to see you working out.
I'll show you the work, which is just me writing it 4 times. I think it's something that they're planning on doing, so we're about to find out how England feels about it.
We probably will. I hope it doesn't, but we probably will find out at some point.
Okay, so and we should talk about your live shows that are happening.
Please.
So
less war in Europe, more live shows.
Let's get you in less trouble.
So you, as of this taping, 2 shows have already happened in in one in the Gramercy Theater in Gramercy in the neighborhood of Manhattan, and in Brooklyn. But we have 2 shows remaining, one in Toronto and one in Chicago.
That's right.
So what are you excited about as far as doing these shows? Being in front, you've not been in front of American audience before.
That's right.
Okay, so how are you feeling about it?
That's not true. You married an American.
That's
right?
true. Yeah.
So you've been in front of that audience.
An audience of one.
She rarely gives me an audience.
Expect the same from us.
We're excited. I mean, I said earlier, we're not gonna try and treat it any differently. We hope that people come along because they love the show and love what we do. So we'll do a bit more of that. But to be honest, it's just exciting to be out here. I mean, we did 15 shows around England last month, all throughout October. It was great. People turned out, enjoyed it, and we're just going to go out there and hopefully make people laugh, entertain them, and it's kind of a bit like an entertainment show about football rather than a football show. It could really be any subject that we're all interested in.
Sure.
I think it would still work. It's kind of a universal thing. So hopefully people will enjoy it. I'm sure they will. And if they don't, they can't have their money back.
No refunds, man.
Yeah.
That's prominent listed there right on the ticket. But it is pretty cool because in general, we don't see this very often, right? Especially
we're the first UK podcast, football podcast to come out here.
Yeah.
Ever.
And that's
Because Men in Blazers is American.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though there's 2 English guys.
They've started and formed in the US,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You're the first ones to come out here and do this. And you also provide something that I think, when we started, we didn't see. So we provided because it didn't happen here in America, which is the sort of like the culture around the sport.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's really important to us. Yeah.
Just more banter than it is talking about formation.
a quick question. What was your take on the Colleen Rooney, story and that IG post?
Couldn't believe my luck.
Yeah. We talked about it for a whole show. Yeah. It was great.
I'm straight away. I'm going, that's a week's material there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's easy. I'm going to do any research now. No, it's amazing. That kind of stuff we live for. There's enough you have to understand, and I'm sure you do understand. In England, you're saturated with content. You've got 4 big sports here. We've only really got 1. There are other sports that are popular in England, but they're nowhere near the size of football.
Yeah,
so
we still don't know what a test match or Lords is. We don't care.
I can do it, but that's going to be another hour. We can do that.
We heard that some, cricket matches go 5 days. We're like, we're done. We're not involved.
It goes 5 days. At the end, it can be a tie. It can be a draw.
What's the point? 90 minutes in and out. Let's go.
So we wanted to not really be too concerned. I do think we know about football and we can talk about it intelligently if we need to. But the pomp and circumstance and the circus around it is really what we're interested in. So that Colleen Rooney stuff, that's amazing. That's amazing.
That's like bullseye.
Couldn't be better. Could not be better.
Even the ... we talked about. I'm like, she threw an ellipsis in.
I'm interviewing her next week for Ramble Meets.
No, are
I'm
you?
not.
Oh, we're showing up.
Yeah.
Just gonna go fanboy.
Yeah. Well, if you are watching, you are welcome to call.
Luke, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure people watching or listening go to ramblelive.com if you want tickets to those shows. There's a couple remaining in the US and Canada. So best of luck. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Football Ramble Daily. Search that wherever you get your podcasts as well. We won't take any of your listeners away because you
can listen to both.
Yeah, exactly.
Give us your listener.
Other way around. Tell them about Cooligans.
All your listeners now belong to us.
We got more Cooligans after this.
How great was Luke Moore?
Dude, Luke was incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, he talks into a mic for a living 6 days a week now.
Well, he's not on every single day. Individually.
All right, but still, he talks into a mic for a living for what? 12 years.
Yeah,
He better be good on our show.
He's been doing it a while. Yeah.
Well, what I like is he didn't take it light, man. He came in, he was ready to go, had some good bits. He was a great conversationist.
Great dude. So
what
yes, go see them live if you have an opportunity and they're in your city. So we want to take this time to talk about some American soccer. Okay,
the greatest game in the world of football is going to be played in the world of soccer. It's going to be played.
That's right. It's called Soccer Mate.
Yeah,
all right?
Come on, mate.
No, MLS Cup final happening this Sunday. We will be there.
That's right. The world tour continues.
That is correct.
How exhausted are you?
Racking up those frequent flyer miles, sitting in the middle seat everywhere we go.
Weird because they're only giving me freaky flyer miles. Hey.
All right. I'm glad that happened.
Did you hear the coming from this?
We could. It's just mostly. It's wildly unnecessary. We could get through the show and get to reach higher highs.
No,
but no. I
like lower levels.
He's keeping us down. No, we will be there. The game is happening on Sunday at I believe 3 p.m. Eastern time, noon Pacific, which is a little strange, a little early for. I feel bad for some of these players. They haven't even digested their brunch. You know,
a little early.
A little early. So MLS Cup final will be Seattle Sounders hosting Toronto FC. This is the third time in 4 years that these two teams are playing each other.
What's funny is no one would have listed them as powerhouses at the beginning of the season.
Nobody's listing them as powerhouses now.
Yeah, good point. But this is the joy of the playoff system. You never know who's going to make it.
Yeah.
Complete opposite conversation being had in MLS headquarters.
So that from a point of selling the league, marketing the league, a lot of I think neutral fans feel like this is not the game they wanted to see. Look, last week we were on this show talking about how there was no way Toronto was going to beat Atlanta United. We were way too confident.
Pontificating, if you will.
Even if you saw the match stats of that game, it was like 19 shots for Atlanta United and like 4 for Toronto FC. And they made the most of those 4.
They made the most. I mean, I think I said like, oh, maybe there's a chance that LAFC looks past this match because they just had this big emotional match.
Oh, they did.
Well, it turns out maybe I'm right.
A bit of a shock. I'm not as shocked by Seattle beating LAFC. Seattle were a good team this year. I understand that, but maybe a little shocked that they beat them at Bank of California Stadium.
Yes,
and very shocked Toronto.
Was that
FC.
only their third loss this year
at home?
Yeah,
I don't know the number, but it was very few. Yeah. I was way more shocked by Toronto FC defeating Atlanta at home because Atlanta, and you saw again with those match stats, you saw that they were the dominant team, and they probably should have won that game.
Even watching it, you're like tactically the way the game is being played. It just shots weren't going in. That's all.
Yeah.
Everything else was right for Atlanta. I was planning on going to Atlanta in Atlanta MLS Cup. Because remember, we're like, oh no, it's not going to be in LA. And our Atlanta fans were like, oh, you're coming to Atlanta this year.
Yeah, we were like, everybody was like making all the plans. We're booking the Airbnbs. Yeah. Nope, we gotta change that. No, but what I am excited about, because I don't want to diminish this MLS Cup final, because I know, especially for Seattle Sounders fans, this is a huge deal. The two MLS Cup finals that they played in, they were hosted at BMO Field, and so they didn't get to play their game at home.
And they each won. And so this is like the rubber match of the rivalry.
The tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about going to Seattle for the first time. I've never been there, and seeing an MLS Cup final sold out at CenturyLink Stadium. This is gonna be wild. We might bump into Ciara.
Yo.
Okay. So we
might bump into her and be like, oh, I'm sorry, did I spill any of yo goodies? Yo goodies? Yeah, yo goodies.
Yeah, that's what he's gonna say.
and then Russell
Wilson
is gonna punch me in the
face. Not because he's offended, because he's heard that joke too many times. Gonna smack him across the head. That's what I'm thrilled about. We're gonna get to see a lot of our Seattle supporters, see a lot of Seattle fans.
Yeah. Some Seattle friends.
Exactly.
That's right. Kale moved from Chicago to Seattle, so she's there. So we're going to go hang out with her.
I think because she knew this was going to happen.
She moved, and what she's done is she's gone around Seattle, and she's sort of done some of the recon.
The recon for us, exactly. Yes.
So that when we get there, this was all for this.
Yes,
she knew.
She's going to be like, I'm reporting back. I know where all the good pork knuckle is.
I better find out what a good pork knuckle is.
And there's probably like very few people, maybe new listeners who do not know what we're talking about, who we're talking about. Kale Parker. Fan, friend of the show. She's the princess of the podcast. That's right. That's what we would always call her.
And she legitimately freaked out when she first met us. Right? And it was cool. She
helped us out in Chicago.
Yeah, she was a huge friend.
The videographer, photographer. She's great. But
she's the hand you see shaking, high-fiving Stefan Fry.
Yes, that's right.
Who's German, and we were just in Germany. Look at that.
Is he German?
Yeah, Stefan Fry. What more do you need?
I don't think he's German. I could be wrong.
He's 100% German.
I'm gonna. Somebody can look this up. If Stefan,
you don't need 23andMe. Trust me, my man's German.
I don't think he's German. Anyway, he's Swiss. Okay. And while we were in Germany, Alexis did have a problem understanding that those were two separate countries.
Yeah, dude. I was like, where are all them chocolates y'all know for?
So who wins this game, Alexis?
I gotta go Seattle.
Yeah,
they're home.
And as with the form they were in, especially against LAFC, you have to favor them.
The only reason is Jordan Morris pulled up a little bit at the end of that match, at the last match. So If they don't have him, completely different team without him being able to sort of expose and stretch your defenders down that wing.
Yeah.
But they do have Nico Lodero, and dude, Rui Diaz is on one. The problem is also you never know which Rui Diaz is going to show up.
I mean,
which Rui Diaz is this?
I kind of like playoff Rui Diaz. He's been
playoff Rui Diaz is on. He's a beast.
But when Seattle Sounders won the MLS Cup at BMO Field, they won the game without having a shot on goal. Right, so they did have some problems with Toronto.
That's a different Toronto. There's no Giovinco.
It's no Giovinco, but it's still...
Defenders are a little iffy.
I don't know. I mean, look, we saw Toronto in the playoffs has not been an easy team to play against. I mean, it wasn't like DC United, they had a tough time. NYCFC had a very, very tough time. They kind of pressured them to make some errors. So I don't think Toronto's just going to get washed out.
No, it ain't going to happen. But this match is basically going to be who's more effective, Nico Lodero or Pozuelo.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, that's
Mate
fair.
Versus patatas bravas. That's the whole thing.
What's the second one?
Patatas bravas. You don't know what they are?
No, I don't know.
It's a dish. It's fried potatoes with a spicy sauce on top.
Ooh, all right. That sounds good.
Let's have both.
We were talking about the MLS Cup final, and my prediction, I think
Seattle is going to win.
I think Seattle is probably going to win this one. Toronto's definitely capable of an upset, having,
Neither one of us are going to be surprised if Toronto wins, but I will say we both believe Seattle's going to win.
But I mean, Seattle Sounders winning MLS Cup in their stadium, oh my God. We expect, I think, about 60,000 people there.
It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be pretty crazy.
Remember when we saw the fans marching in Toronto?
Yeah.
It was like, I forget, started like whatever, birthed in 1974 or something like that. There's like a song they sing.
Mm-hmm.
It was wildly intimidating. Like they're all sort of in the same chant. They're all coming at you. One of them is like shoot him against the wall or something like that is like something they sing in it.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It's like, I can't imagine a whole city doing that.
You know what? I can't trust that Alexis knows the lyrics to the song, so I'm not gonna support it. But whatever. So we're excited. We're gonna be at MLS Cup. If you see us in Seattle, please say hello. We might have some stickers. We'll give you a sticker or something like that. Yeah. So please, if you see us there, say what up. Don't be there. Occasionally, we'll have people send us messages like
photos of us.
Yeah,
and they were like near us. So they're like, I didn't want to say hello to the cool guys. Why not?
Why not?
You think our breath stinks? Come say what's up.
Shake my hand.
If your breath stinks, I'll tell you. Okay? Get close enough for me to find out. Come say hello.
I'm gonna smell your mouth. All right.
Breathe heavy in my face. Please don't do that. Especially if y'all been drinking all that beer and whatever else y'all eat. Flying fish,
throwing fish at each other. I don't know what you guys.
What happens out there?
So we're excited to go. There's a couple things I wanted to talk about that happened. Even though a lot of times people, when the MLS offseason happens, people are like, when are the Coolians gonna talk about? There's nothing going.
The page 6 of MLS never stops.
No, it does not end because there's more news that is very personal to us, and
that's right.
Really affects us on a deeply personal level.
Because the last time this happened, our show took a turn.
Exactly, and we have to talk about Dax McCarty. Dax McCarty, formerly of the Chicago Fire. Now playing.
He's not going to get to play in Soldier Field.
Yeah, he got traded for $50,000 in TAM and $50,000 in GAM and some like useless draft picks to Nashville SC, which is the new team that will be leaving USL and joining Major League Soccer. And this is the reason this is a shock for some maybe new viewers or new listeners is because
we're trying to figure out, should we send him a new fruit bowl?
Because Dax McCarty is an important part of the Cooligans lore, right? Because
we would not be where we are if it wasn't for Dax McCarty existing and being traded on his wedding day.
We are not exaggerating at all. He was traded a day after getting newly married, and we were talking about this on the show. The Rebels traded him to the Chicago Fire. It was a bit.
He legit found out on his wedding day.
Yeah, it was a very much of a shock,
and he was like a sort of like the heart and soul of
New York Rebels,
the Rebels at the time. So to find out you're getting traded on your damn wedding day,
yes,
that's gotta hurt.
It's rough. So,
and then his wife had put out sort of like a message kind of condemning what had happened and being a little disrespectful to New York.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it on the show, and I said, hey, let's Google it, right? And we did. And what came up first was their wedding registry.
That's right. And we sent them a gift.
So we said, let's buy them a gift.
We sent them a football.
And yeah, well, we noticed them like some of the cheaper stuff was like a lamp for $600. We're like, everybody relax. Right?
Okay, we don't know them like that.
Yeah. Also, we ain't got that kind of money. So I said to Christian, what's the cheapest thing? And it was a fruit bowl. But it's not like a decorative fruit bowl. It's one you're supposed to like eat yogurt out of. And it was 1 out of 16. We only sent them one.
So it was a thing we did. We did a video on it. You can watch it on our YouTube channel. It was a very fun thing. But again,
we never got to thank you was the whole thing.
That was the whole thing. But watch it on our YouTube channel. It was very fun. Dax Fruit Bowl. Just look it up. So we talk about that, and that was like an incredible thing. But he very much adjusted to Chicago. I believe he bought a home. Just had a baby.
Yeah,
just had a baby a couple months ago.
Thank God they waited, and not while he's waiting at the doctor.
Just like his wife giving birth, and the baby comes out with like a pink slip.
Right. His first words are, "You fired."
And now he's traded to Nashville. I don't know. I'm not going to claim that he's unhappy about this, but you could presume that this is probably not ideal. I know that he was probably very excited about playing at Soldier Field, and he was starting to become beloved by the Chicago Fire kind of support.
And he had, not him specifically, but the club had kind of a rough go of it during his stay. It started off real strong with the whole Schweinsteiger and all that, and then it's sort of coming down and problems with the fans, and now there's new owners and moving to a different stadium. So probably didn't have the smoothest time in Chicago, but he was starting to become beloved and a real staple on the team.
I'm disappointed in this move from the Chicago Fire. I think Dax McCarty is a strong veteran that they could have used, especially. Well, yeah, pretty much. I mean, now Nashville they also did a trade with LA Galaxy. So they got Dave Romney of the Romney family, which is very much true. Yeah. So Dave Romney and Dax are going to Nashville. I don't know what Nashville. We don't know what the full roster is going to be yet or whatever.
No, it's smart. You really get a really smart veteran.
Yeah, they're going to be very helpful for their initial MLS season for Nashville. But don't think I honestly don't think it's a great move for Chicago because they don't have many of those guys that you can have a little bit of confidence in.
Yeah, but clearly Chicago's doing a whole rebuild. Clearly, they're getting rid of a lot of players. Schweinsteiger's not coming back. They're doing a whole cleaning house. They're going to start off all brand new. Clearly, either that or y'all being dumb.
So it's just one of those two.
Can't be anything else.
That's how we grading you.
Even more Cooligans. We're amazing at this. We just keep talking. It's pretty great.
That's right. Yeah, we've actually just reviewed our own show while it's happening, and
6 stars, dude.
We are amazing. That's the conclusion we've come to. We want to talk about just to wrap up today. We want to talk about a story that was in Forbes. So it's legit.
Only talks about big money,
big wop, big wop.
Be in it,
that should be the new name for Forbes. Big wop.
Oh, have you read the new Racks on Racks on Racks?
Yes, and there was an article titled "Major League Soccer's Most Valuable Teams in 2019. Atlanta stays on top as expansion fees and sale prices surge."
That's right.
So the reason we wanted to talk about this because at the end of every year we sort of wrap up where is MLS now, right? And we're gonna be in Seattle where Don Garber every year does the State of the League address.
And we're gonna ask some tough questions.
Exactly.
Look at.
Yes, the on-brand Cooligans. That's how we do it at press conferences. But no, Don Garber is going to do that. And so this is kind of from the business perspective where MLS is. And the one thing that always stands out is how much money are these teams losing, because everybody generally feels with the MLS and American soccer that you're playing the long game. You're going to lose a lot of money up front. But one day when soccer is the only sport in this country,
it's going to happen. When the concussion thing takes out the NFL,
hey,
here we go, baby. That's what everyone's hoping.
It's our chance to swoop in. Okay.
Well, they forget their names. Watch soccer.
That would be a cool slogan for Major League Soccer.
Major League Soccer. Our retirees know who their wives are. Come on, watch MLS.
Okay, let's get on their ad campaigns. That's what you need the Cooligans for. So there's a long list of a lot of the teams.
Here's why this is also important and why we're going to talk about why this is maybe not all the information.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say CBD negotiations are coming up. That's not what's happening. The collective bargaining agreement, CBA negotiations are coming up. Yeah.
They might be on CBD while
it would be a bit more chill if they were, But the CBA negotiations are coming up. And this is when all the articles that MLS is losing money start to come out.
Yeah. So it's like it's definitely on purpose and it's very intentional.
Yeah.
Like the players, their articles are like about Wayne Rooney saying the players are underpaid, and then Forbes is like, well, the owners make no money. They just go.
What are we supposed to do? It's a long con. I mean, investment. So this is when these things start to drop, right?
Yeah.
And this should be a sign to you as an MLS fan, like, oh, negotiations are gonna be tough, right? And there may be a strike, right? Which again would hurt the Cooligans, but also give us something to talk about. So whatever, do whatever you want. Go get your money. Go get your guap. But so MLS is teams' evaluations. 2 teams are over 450 million in valuation or in value. Why is this a big deal? That's more than some NHL clubs. So things are starting to shift it's a slow gain, but it's a gain nonetheless.
So, and this is, even though teams might lose money, people, people are not really exactly aware where soccer is in this country and how popular the sport is, or how much wealthy people they think they can make from owning a soccer team. So when you hear Atlanta United has a $500 million valuation,
$500 million.
So we're not in some place where soccer is just some irrelevant game or boring or whatever. People really feel they can truly make a lot of money investing in American soccer.
And here's the other thing. Yeah, everyone when Luke Moore was here, he was talking about it's not the number one sport in the country. It's like, we kind of almost don't even need it to be because we have that many people. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like our fandom already can rival as far as ticket purchases and whatnot. The Premier League, a lot of their clubs, it can already rival the amount of people watching. It may not the percentage of population, no, but the amount of people watching, we're already above that. For a lot of clubs. And this is what's happening. You're seeing the effect of maybe you're not number one, but being the third most popular sport in this country is still a lot of money.
Yeah, you're still doing pretty well.
Yeah. If you're the guy who's getting paid the third most in a Scorsese movie, you're still a millionaire. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's more like worse things to be embarrassed about.
Yeah. No, I'm not De Niro. I'm definitely not Pacino. But hey,
I'm Leo DiCaprio.
It's not bad. Right? I got 6 different types of herpes. Does he? Who knows? Was he watching?
What?
Stop freaking out. Nobody cares. If we get sued by Leo DiCaprio, everyone will know this network a lot more. Dude, let's get sued by Leo DiCaprio.
You have a very strange assumption of what these Playboys' lives are like.
Dude, he's a part of a group called the P-Word Patrol. So, Toby Maguire's in it too, which is the most confusing one of all.
There's nothing to corroborate. I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about.
They have a point system. This is all true. I only know this because Toby Maguire's in it, and he's losing. It could be Leo DiCaprio, Toby Maguire, and that couch cushion, and Toby Maguire would lose. I promise you that.
Well, when we're talking about operating income of MLS teams, which is what we were talking about, a lot of the teams are suggesting that they are some are making very little money or losing out. Like Toronto FC is basically saying they've lost $19 million. Even though this may suggest that, it doesn't reflect what money that the teams make from Soccer United marketing.
Being a member of MLS, because again, you're not really a team. You're a team owner, but you're really a portion. It's like a co-op. Like you own a portion of the league.
Yeah.
They also own some. They own a portion of some.
And they get a cut of that.
They get the some money. The Pablo Maurer did a great article on that, where he sort of explained exactly what that is, and he looked at the DC United books. So
they've made a fair amount of money from some, so it basically covers the losses to some degree. So it's interesting stuff, and it might just seem like just a bunch of dumb numbers, but there is a lot going on within American soccer, and hopefully this explains a little bit what the future will look like of the sport.
Hopefully,
all right. So you did it. You endured another fun episode.
That's
of
right.
The Cooligans,
and we have not gotten gotten canceled yet.
Okay, but who knows what'll happen next week?
Well, you watched this episode, so it's a possibility.
No, thank you again to Luke Moore for joining us of the Football Ramble Daily. Make sure you check out his show, check out their podcast, and that they do daily. So
that's right.
A lot of opportunities
at this point.
To tune in. Yes, I have a blast. Thank you. We're going to be at MLS Cup.
Dude, we're going to Seattle. If you want to hang out with us in Seattle, please let us know. Any Gully Squad members out there, please let us know.
Yeah, hit us up.
We're showing up to your house.
Okay, that's it. It's
we know your address. You join Gully Squad.
Wow. Okay, it's like it's private information. Probably shouldn't use it that way, I think, Alexis.
Whatever. Oh, now you tell me?
No, we're excited to be there. So we'll do next week. We'll be talking about our time at MLS
That's right.
Cup.
Tell us what pizza place to go to. Should we go to Supreme? Is that the one we should go to? That's the one I'm hearing is pretty good.
Okay, I thought they make clothes, but they do pizza too.
They do everything, bro.
Hype Beast Pizza.
It's like $17 a slice, but you could resell it for $150.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you follow us at Soccer Cooligans. Follow at Fubo Sports to tag along and stuff like that.
Baby,
so with that said, my name is Christian Polanco.
I'm Alexis Guerrero.
And together, what are we?
The Cooligans!